So, welcome to the podcast, Liz. We are so happy you're here.
I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's so good. It's been a while since I've seen you. Basically, I haven't seen you since last January when we filmed the 90-day series.
It's been a while, yeah.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, months.
well, I know we were in the Keys for a solid 2 weeks at Isla Bella Resort, and it was quite something, wasn't it, Liz?
It really
It was.
It's a little bit of an understatement.
I know. Well, before we get into talking about the past life regression I did with you on the series, no less, I would like to give our listeners just a little bit of context about who you are and how long you've been on the show. So, how many years have you been on 90 Day Fiancé, and what are the other spinoffs that you've done?
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the original spinoff of 90 Day The Single Life with
Oh,
Ed.
okay.
Yeah.
So that was a spinoff. The Last Resort is a spinoff.
Yes.
And then so I think this is my third season that I'm on right now for The Last Resort. Yes.
And
Yeah.
were all those with Big Ed, or was that
All Big Ed.
all?
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I think, Lizzie, you and I spoke at the very beginning of January when I did my initial intake session with you. I think that was on Zoom, just to learn a little bit about you before we jumped into filming the show at the end of the month. And we did talk at that time about the possibility of my doing a past life regression with you because you thought it was such an interesting concept. So how much did you really know about past life regression before we spoke?
I knew absolutely nothing about past life regression. I knew like being hypnotized, but I've tried to do like some hypnosis, like, like Vegas shows and stuff like that. Did not work on me.
Very different.
I'm too like into my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, knew absolutely nothing.
Was it within your belief system about like that there are multiple lifetimes or past lives is that part of your belief system?
I definitely feel like I have had past lives before even experienced this or even meeting Petey. I don't know. I feel like I've just lived before.
Like you just
lifetime.
had like a felt sense of knowing around it.
Yes, which is, I know like if you like go under for much longer than what we even had the time to do, there's probably many more lifetimes I would have been in, but there's something like, I like to identify myself as a cat. Cuddle me when I want cuddles and leave me alone.
Oh
but
my
I feel
God.
like
She was like an Egyptian cat, you know?
I know I feel like I lived in the Egyptian times. Like we didn't go to that lifetime, but I definitely feel it's there somewhere.
Yeah.
But I definitely thought that was going to be an area where I could have gone back to is Egyptian times. And I've always been fascinated with it. So
yes. Well, and we asked your soul to show you the lifetime that was most pertinent for you to see. But yes, had we had more time, we could have gone back to
exactly what you just said. That was very relevant to where I was in the Last Resort.
Yes, it was. So Liz, did you have any trepidation about doing it live on camera?
So there was a moment where I thought I was going to back out moving forward to it because you have to really be vulnerable to do it. And you have to be with someone that you trust. And we had sessions before. There had to have been a lot of trust with you, Petey.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm like, what's she going to ask me? What am I going to answer?
Yeah. Well, and those shows they were getting like over like 1.5 million viewers per episode. So I'm sure there's some, nervous feelings rolling into it.
I can only imagine like Ed being on the side. Petey, ask her this.
But you knew me well enough to know you could trust me implicitly, right? Yeah. I know.
Definitely. It takes a lot of trust to do that. And
it does.
Again, being vulnerable too.
Yeah, and I wonder
being
if
completely open.
like a
Mm-hmm.
deep desire too to get some questions answered.
Honestly, I couldn't even, there were so many answers that I got that I didn't even ask or could have even imagined. Like, it still impacts my life today of moving forward. I'm like, talking about learning your voice, I found it.
Well, we're
Wow.
talking about all that you learn, but let's go through this process a little bit. We'll kind of keep it in an order so people can understand the stream of consciousness
Yes.
that comes with it. And so for our listeners, just so the listeners know, I did hypnotize Ed on the show first, and he went into a
Mm-hmm.
deep state of relaxation and hypnosis very, very quickly. And I know that you both had made this agreement to not talk about anything until after you did yours separately. Was
That
that
was a good
hard for,
idea.
yeah, was that hard for you to not know what had happened before you did yours?
Surprisingly, I was very proud that Ed wasn't so quick to try to talk about it. Like, he was very calm and collected, and because he's very outspoken,
Yes.
very, like, he literally kept it to himself so I can experience that. And that, I mean, that was a lot of growth for him to do that too. Like, he allowed me to have
Yeah.
my time. Yeah. No, I don't know if I would have been able to like hold it in as well as he did. He did a good job.
He
Well,
did.
it's
He
so
didn't
much
want it to
interesting
impact
information.
you, right? He wanted
Yes,
you to
yeah.
have your own private experience like he did with no expectations. And he
See,
did do a
therapy
good
was
job.
working. He did
Like,
so great. He literally was like, I need you to do this. He didn't want to tell me anything, how anything happened. He's like, you got to experience this for yourself. And
Oh, wow.
it was so great to talk about it afterwards.
yeah.
Well, then it was your turn after his. And so how did you feel going into session with mom? Were you more at ease or more nervous, or were you ready after you'd already decided like, okay, I'm going to do this?
I was ready. I saw such a huge change even immediately when I mean, after girls' night. I go back to the room. I'm lit. Poor guy just wants to relax. He was so calm. Like, literally the calmest I have ever. Petey, I gotta hire you every day. He was so calm and relaxed, and oh my god, I didn't even know who he was after that. It was great. It was so great.
Well, then I imagine
know.
that put you at ease to be able to go into your session.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm happy he did that. It really did put me at ease, and he just, I don't know, just seeing how relaxed he was. I was looking forward to it. And I to be one of the couples to be asked to do that was amazing. I'm very honored and blessed that we were the couple that got to be able to do that. And Yara did it too.
Well, she ended up doing it after the series.
Yes.
Because she really didn't want to do it on
Mhm.
camera, remember? So she said, hey, Petey, when this is all over.
Then
And so she and I did it afterwards. And then
doing
Molly
it on
did.
camera too is like it's all caught. And they have everything. They have all the footage. So that
True. All the
was
receipts are there.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
can't back that out. Can't say cut that out.
I know. So we got into it, and how did that feel for you to be hypnotized?
It was honestly, I felt like I had like a heavy blanket over me, but it was so interesting to like learn things about myself that I didn't even know.
Yeah, but the relaxation part was pretty easy for you, didn't you think?
It was very easy. Well, I definitely know like my body was fighting it for just a little bit because I think I was
In the
way
very
too in my
beginning.
head. Yeah, and then once I was there, I was
there.
out.
Yeah,
Don't
I
remember
know.
everything.
And
Which
that
is
was
cool. That's the whole thing, is that your conscious mind, like you're in your subconscious mind, but when you're hypnotized, your conscious mind is like 2 to 3 times more alert, which is why you're able to like remember more and recall more and find those lessons in it. So it's an interesting thing when you're so relaxed but so engaged.
I do I remember Ed telling me that he like he wanted to like scratch his nose, but he couldn't unless he asked or something.
No, you don't have to ask for that. He must have.
I don't. That's Ed.
That's Ed. I know. I know.
He's like, I feel like I can't like scratch. That's what he was telling me afterwards. That's the only thing he shared with me. He's like,
and some people feel like they can't move during it, you know?
But you can, like, you can. There were times when I felt like I could have brought myself out of it on my own, like if I were to panic and everything. But
yeah,
there's still, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know how to explain it.
No, you always have perfect control. You always can come out of it if you choose. But of course, everybody is coming for answers, so they want to stay in it to get all the answers.
I didn't want to come out.
Yeah, it feels really
wanted
good
to go to other lifetimes. I kind of wanted to see. I wanted to see who the cat person would have been in me.
Let's keep it going. One more lifetime.
I know. Well, let's just kind of start at the beginning, because after, the initial really letting yourself be so relaxed, the hypnosis piece, I started taking you back. We did, of course, a couple of ages in this lifetime. We did some age regression. And then when I took you back to the womb, that was very interesting with you. You had the most interesting reaction in the room. Do you remember that?
Now that you're saying it right now, it's like completely I wouldn't have even just remembered that just like 20 minutes ago. But you bringing it up, I remember being in the womb. Oh my god.
What was it like for you?
Like I can hear everything. Everything. I can hear everything. Oh my gosh. I totally forgot about that.
You're back right now. I see you.
Yeah.
If you remember, so that is when your breathing really started to intensify and there were some indications of stress. So I needed to put you back into the observer role of being in the womb, because when I asked you where your feelings of stress were coming from, I don't know. Do you remember what you said?
No, I don't.
You said, "Oh, I just don't know if I'm ready to be born again in this lifetime." You said, "My soul told me this is going to be such a challenging one. I'm not sure if I'm ready for this life." That's where
has been.
That's what you told me. That's what your stress was all about. And so,
see, like visually, I can remember being like just black, but still being able to see everything. That oh my gosh. I definitely wasn't ready.
I know. But then I did some more relaxation in the womb, and so you could release that. And then we went to the first lifetime that the soul directed you to. So it was pretty interesting that you could go there immediately.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's like thinking about everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know.
So when you landed in that first lifetime, Liz, what do you remember? So usually you look down at your feet, look at, the ground, the soil. What did you remember when you first, arrived?
Being sad and scared. Yeah, and alone. But not because I was alone because I was forced to be alone, being alone because I chose to run away or be by myself. That's the first thing that I remember is like I can see like what I was wearing, but I just being alone. Yeah.
Yeah, you said you were trying to run away from the problems you were having. When I asked what you were doing there, and you were having love problems, you said, and didn't want to be found. And there was abuse happening for you. And I don't know if you remember this, but the tears at that point were streaming down your cheeks as you were feeling that I pain.
Do remember so much pressure in my chest during that moment. And I think almost like hyperventilating or something. I did not want to be in that moment, but I remember that. Yeah.
And when you are seeing, are you somebody who visually sees it or just kind of has that knowing?
So
when Mom
I visually saw it.
You do? Wow, interesting. There's like 20% of people, right, Mom, are visual people who see it.
She was very visual.
I saw colors. I couldn't see like exactly what I look like, but I could remember seeing like blonde hair right here, my shoes. I can remember seeing the water.
Wait, do you know what year it was ish or what century?
1973, 1793, something. So numbers are there somewhere.
1793. Very good.
So it's right there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Where were you? 1793 in...
I don't really remember where I was at. I just remember being by water and like on an island.
You were on an island.
Yes. But I couldn't tell you where I was at. I just took off and
how interesting. Mom,
there.
Wasn't that the regression we just did? You were in 1790, right?
I bet you we were friends. We crossed paths somewhere.
I was like, that's the same time frame.
Well, what?
By water.
I know. So it was, in this, 17th century. And you were trying to get some more context, but it was just like this beautiful island, but you just couldn't kind of get. And again, whenever somebody can't get that immediately, should we move on? I don't want to spend, that's not the whole purpose of this. The whole purpose is for healing, but it's just always interesting when people can identify the year and the place. And you also did know your name, if you remember that.
Sabrina.
Such a pretty name. I know. So then I take you again. I take you to the next significant event of that lifetime. And that's where you saw the man that you married in that lifetime, remember?
Yes.
Yes. And you were so happy with him.
Man, bless that guy.
What do you remember from that relationship? What was kind of the feeling you were experiencing?
Vulnerability again. Love. And there's many different forms of love, but I felt love. And not even like, there was like a way that I felt like I loved myself the way that I was loved. And
unconditional love of self.
Yeah, it was very calm and just very also like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I ran away to an island, but also like selfish with that love too. I don't like something that I always felt like I deserved. So like, I wanted it all. I didn't want to come back from it. It was great. I really did feel love within myself and within my partner.
Because that was what you commented. So I feel so safe. I feel so loved. I feel so much comfort. You kept saying, I feel so much comfort here. And just in case our listeners are wondering how I have such a good memory, I do a transcription of every word she says after the hypnosis. So, because it's hard to remember all those little details, and this helps the person, because I will get people that I do regressions with, and I will say 2 years later, people will say, oh my gosh, I reread that regression you did, and it is so on target with where I'm at today. So it continues to serve people throughout time. In case people are wondering, no, I don't have that excellent a memory. Looking at the transcription.
Even like just kind of like going over little notes recently, I was like, oh my gosh, like it is still so relevant to my life, and even in this moment. In the next couple hours, it's so weird. There's way more towards probably the end of like soul contract and everything like that. It is so relevant in my life right now that every day. I've learned so much from it. Yeah.
Well, we'll jump into that for sure.
I'm like trying not to say anything right now, because I'm about to be like, yes.
I know, we're just trying to be a little linear and keep it in the order we went, because that's easier for people to understand. And the interesting part, when you were on this island with this man you felt so loved with, you said to me, well, my children have grown up and left now, but I don't see them because I'm never going to leave this island. I don't want to give up my comfort and security here. And that's how strongly you felt about that place with him. I mean, it was, And then you went on and you died peacefully at age 73. So it's
And I
kind of a long
remember
life.
that being peaceful too. Like it was just like not wanting to give up your comfort. Like for me, I finally felt like I found it, and yeah, I was going to be so selfish with it. And my kids have gone up and grown, and hopefully they'll come visit. But no,
Well, it feels
I
so
didn't want
like
to give it up.
safe and secure
Yeah.
and happily in love and able to be vulnerable. That is hard to walk away from, I would imagine. Yeah.
I just was so peaceful there.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what a great thing to reactivate in your cell memory,
Yeah.
that deep sense of what peace is. Because I know at times, obviously, in this lifetime, that has been difficult for you to access. So kind of giving a gift to yourself to be able to feel that level of peace on a cellular, right? Yeah. I've felt, or have you been able to recapture that feeling again since then, would you say?
There's like moments where I can like capture it. Or there's also moments where I crave that. Like I want to go back there and have that moment. That's probably why I didn't want to leave, is because when you feel calm for a moment, like you really don't want to let it go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, activating those level of cell memories I love to do for people, because you are able to feel it so intensely. You can return there and at least know what that feels like. Because would you say you had ever felt that level of peace and comfort in this lifetime to date now?
I would like to.
No, I didn't
And
say
when
have
I'm there,
you.
I'm going to be just
You.
as selfish on the island.
Oh, okay. So you might return to that. All right. So it was interesting because it was such an unhappy lifetime for you in the beginning. And then it got progressively happier and happier and happier for you. And that's when then we had your soul leave that body and have all knowledge of the soul lessons then on why you went to that. And we learned what your life theme was, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
What was that?
Ooh. I learned so many lessons within myself. I learned lessons there to be with Ed. I even learned lessons of where he was supposed to do for me. And then I also learned the biggest thing that I learned was to find my voice and use it.
Yes.
That was the biggest one that I couldn't leave until it was like, say what you want to say, stick up for yourself, like say your needs and your wants, just speak.
And has that been something you've struggled with in this current life with doing?
Oh yeah, I am
I am laughing. Okay. That'd be a
we
yes.
all know.
That would be yes.
I'm very quiet. It's so crazy when I meet people, they're like, I'm a huge introvert, and they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, well, you saw me on 2 shots of tequila, but
right. Yeah.
But no, I'm very quiet. I'm very introvert. I like to keep to myself. I don't like tensions or problems. And I definitely am like a people pleaser. And I would just rather, like I will go with the flow. But not no more.
Well,
when you say you'll go with the flow, you know what that brings immediately to my mind? You and Angela on the.
Oh my gosh! Okay, that was probably the best way.
And you were like, "Okay, I'm just like." I mean, that's what it makes me remember, right?
You know, that comes to my head so much, but like separating that from like what I was going through is like I didn't need to use my voice at that moment. Like that just was, we were all drinking and whatever. Like that didn't need to like ask. I didn't need to use my voice. I just needed to go to bed.
But you know you could if you wanted to.
I could have, but then like I don't think it would have made the situation better.
Right, but now you have that choice, right? It's not like you're not saying something because you can't. You're just making a decision based on the situation.
So I even had an incident at work the other day because I'm learning a new position in my job right now, and you know, personalities are a little clashy, and normally I'm like very quiet, but then finally the other day I was like, you're not going to speak to me this way, and this is how I feel, and I'm here to help you. And like, that was a lot for me to do. I was like, I'm about to get fired. Like, but I was like, I'm here to help you, and you either work with me or not, because you're not going to have anyone answer the phones for you. Like, those are like little situations where I'm like,
yeah, they're little victories. You stood up for yourself, you spoke up, and then, I mean, that's huge.
Even
just
those
little things
when it comes
huge.
into that. But normally I'm just so quiet. I don't like drama. I hate it. I'd rather go hide myself in a closet and just shield away from everything.
But that makes so much sense though, because you talked about that past life of how much you loved yourself. Yeah. And you being able to speak up in these ways is an act of self-love.
And I don't feel bad about it. But also there's got to be a way that, like, when I am speaking for myself now, there's still a way to handle it. There's still a way to be respectful and polite about it. But I've never been that person to, like, this is how I feel, and it is what it is.
So good. How did it feel after you spoke up?
Good, because we didn't have any problems afterwards.
So good.
I'm sitting here just shaking my head when you're saying on here, and I don't like drama, says the woman on a reality show.
Oh.
Shaking my head. It's like, oh wow, for you to land on a reality show for the woman that doesn't like drama.
So weird. People will ask me, like, how did you do that? How'd you audition? I was like, I didn't.
I know.
Fell in my plate. Oh,
I know. So you found out your life theme was to grow enough to trust again for this lifetime. So do you think that trust has been one of your biggest soul lessons throughout this lifetime as well?
Yes, trust is a huge thing, but trust for me comes in, like, friendships and even my work relationships right now with my partner. Learning how to trust is a huge thing, but I've been very, like, more open, and I'm going to give you my trust until you mess it up the first time. And then from there, I'm going to be more cautious. I can't even tell you how much I've even seen Ed grow from it too. So many things, like, trust, love, respect, all of it.
Well, you really recognized, but you said you recognized that Ed had been your partner in that lifetime that you were so happy with because you saw the soul connection between the eyes, remember?
Going through the soul contract and everything that I've been through with him, like, it's so accurate. And I also don't feel like I would have grown. I have grown so much since January, since we last met, that there's not anything that I ever. He's literally just made me grow so much as a person. He did everything that he was supposed to do in that contract. I did everything I was supposed to do in that contract. It's like life lessons that I use every day from it. Because it really, that lifetime was really a lot about Ed too.
Yeah, it was. And, you had said, when I had asked you what was the essential piece that you needed to remember from that lifetime, and you said it was to learn to be okay, that you could get hurt and you would grow from it. That was the essential piece you were bringing into this lifetime to remember. I mean, that's a huge lesson for anybody, isn't it? I mean, how does that resonate with you?
Oh, I'm like, there's only so much I can talk about, right? I've just grown so much from it. So much from past life regression. I've grown so much with everything that I've gone through with Ed.
But is that still true? You can get hurt and you can grow from it. Does that still resonate for you?
Oh yeah. Now I don't even look back at, like, hurt the way that I used to. I take a lesson from everything. Like, if I'm hurt, like, I really truly take a lesson from that.
The best reframe.
I don't hold on to it the way that I used to.
Oh, I love that for you, Liz. That's so huge, isn't it?
Liz, do you think you would have gotten this kind of awareness without going through the regression or going and reading the soul contract and understanding those soul lessons?
No, I don't think I would have at all. I feel like truly I'm so blessed and honored that we got to do this past life regression. I can't literally tell you how many times I look back at it and use it in my daily life. And I don't think I would have grown at all from it. I mean, it's couples therapy and retreat and all that, but there was something specifically about what I went through that literally has just, it's changed everything. Like, I can go through something in like 20 or 40 minutes, or I mean, I'm about to go to my nephew's little league game here or something. I don't, there can be some type of drama or something that goes down there that I would still like look back to this. I don't know how to explain it. The past life regression is so.
When you see drama or conflict, now you're able to look through it.
Yes. Okay. That's the best way. Cause I can even put it back into like my altercation at work the other day. I was just like, all right, well, this is how I feel. And like,
my opportunity to get my voice.
Yes.
And I think you just said it perfectly. Now, when there is something hurtful, I look to the lesson instead of feeling victimized or upset or in pain. You look to the lesson.
There's no more being a victim. Like, yes, I love the way that you just put that.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing, right? What do you always say, Mom? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Right.
Yes. Oh.
Right. I mean, that's so huge because, and when we were continuing to do the healing work from that lifetime, Liz, I don't know if you remember, but I had to do the healing work several times over before you release the pressure from your heart.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That part I remember repeating things that you were telling me to, but I just still wasn't ready to let it go or like forgive and all that. Like, I finally just really had to be like, all right, let's do this.
Yes. Because after each healing piece, I always say, okay, bring your conscious forward enough to see if it's still residing in your body in this lifetime. And you're like, oh, my heart still hurts. It just hurts. And then, but we went to the place where you finally released it with all of the work. Yeah. And
that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work in that moment, trying to let it all go. But when I finally let it go, I can breathe.
Right. All that pressure on your chest.
Yeah. It was so much pressure on my chest. I felt like I had like a weighted blanket, a brick, all that on me. And just to be able to just finally just like relax and just love myself and all that. Yeah.
So good. So then after all of that information, of course, that's when we went between lifetimes. And who was there to greet you first?
Is this at the end?
Yeah, when I took you between the lifetimes, who came to greet you first?
My grandma.
How many grandmas come first to greet people? And you're feeling emotional now, aren't you?
I feel emotional. Yeah, she was there.
See that?
Where's her so
emotion?
Much.
Where's it coming? Because you love her so much, right?
Gosh. Oh.
Yes.
And my daughter just reminds me so much of her too. I swear they're like the same person.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Oh, that's so good.
Because I respond back to her text message.
Yes.
Yeah, she was there, which is I found it like, so I do have a question about that. Like she's still present here in my lifetime and all that, but like how is that like possible for her to be like the guardian angel being present?
Yeah, because so we have the ability, depending on our soul lessons, when we reach a certain place of healing, we have the ability when we transition to choose to be someone's guardian angel, to be a spirit guide. It depends on our spiritual growth in this lifetime. And that can be a request made when they transition. She probably was like, I really need to be Liz's, guardian angel, because she was I mean, if you remember, and you ended up doing the soul merge with her, how your soul merged together so you could feel her so closely again. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, now I
And
gotta
she
fly out
was,
to see her and hug her.
I know,
Oh.
I
Yeah.
know. And so when you request that, you know, even if the person is still alive, they can go and meet you in that space. The soul can split into many different places. So sometimes when people go into that space and want to see someone specifically, they've already reincarnated into another body. But if they request them to come in that space, they will, and have the conversations that that person needs from them for healing anything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did
Very,
she
Yeah.
did you receive any messages from her when you were there, or was it just an experience of like being in that space with her?
So I can't remember too much of
I know. I know.
I can't remember too much of like the conversations that we had. See, I got all emotional talking about
I
her.
know. You get right back into it.
But I don't remember like having like strong conversations with her in that moment, but I feel like telepathically it was all there, and just like seeing her and being with her, like I knew everything she was telling me. And it would be nothing that if I were to see her right now that she wouldn't be trying to tell me right now, like, baby girl, I love you, you're strong, you're independent, like I know what she would be telling me or what she was saying. Even though she didn't physically say it, I knew exactly what she was saying.
well, in that space, it's all with telepathy. So
Yes.
that
It
is
really
what
was. Even when
I
I
know.
was talking to the elders, I was
Yep.
like,
Yep. It's all
that
telepathic.
was a different experience too, right there.
Well, just in case you can't remember specifically, I am looking at the transcription, and your grandma said, she's saying, smile. You need to smile more. It's going to be okay. She said, you need to love yourself first. Please love yourself first. She is your angel. She's going to be there whenever you call upon her, and you just need to stay strong, and she's with you. She's got you. That's so wonderful, isn't it?
Don't make me cry.
Oh, I know. It's
This
wonderful.
literally, like, if she was in front of me right now, is exactly what she would tell me.
Yeah, I know.
So sweet.
I know it is. So then I did ask you to, that she could take
the
you to
Council
the
of Elders.
Yeah, and you went there. And what did that feel like when you made your soul contract? What was that feeling like?
Oh, like I signed my life away. Because it was such a huge moment that, and it was like very direct, and like that was a contract that I signed. Yeah.
And you said, I have to use my voice in this lifetime. And you said, I have to speak my truth. I have to learn to stand up for myself. I want to learn to be grateful. I want to accept things more easily. And I really want to be loved in this lifetime.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Accepting things and being grateful has definitely been a huge thing that I've worked on a lot too. A lot.
In what way?
There's only so much I can say, but even like certain things that I deal with, or I mean, even with my situations, even with my kid, like so she has a stepmom and stuff. Like there's certain things where there's things that she gets to do right now with her stepmom and her dad that I can't, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was the one doing that. But I am so grateful that she gets to have certain experiences, and she has a stepmom who loves her. And even, okay, so her stepmom sent me a picture of her holding her newest baby brother. And I just thought it was so sweet, and just like I loved seeing that. And I'm just so grateful to even have her love my daughter, and for her to feel safe enough to even send me those photos of her children. So like little
perfect example. No, it's not even that little though, for you to be able to drop into that space with the gratitude and acceptance and feeling how that your daughter's being so loved.
Yes.
And that is what is the highest, good that is happening. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's not small. That's not small at all.
I know it's big because before, instead of feeling that level of gratitude, what were the other feelings that would creep in?
Like a normal feeling would be like, oh, I want her here with me, or like, I don't want you doing this with her. That's my kid.
Maybe some like jealousy or
yes, like that's my kid. That's not yours.
Yeah.
However, that is her kid. That is her child. She loves her too. So there's different ways that I've looked at things moving forward. And honestly, when I tell her, I was like, she's this amazing little girl because of you too. Like not just me, not just her dad.
Yeah.
So but normal things would be jealousy or hey,
it's
you're
so
not
nice that
you're
you
not
can
her mom, but she is. Yeah.
Liz, that is such an enormous shift for you, because guess what happens from those feelings? You go back to that peacefulness from that last lifetime, that deep, deep sense of peace, right?
There's so many things like people will reach out and say something about, my relationship or even family, like when it comes to my daughter having like another parent and stuff. And I'm like, but why? Like, why be mad? Why be upset? Like, and Ed and I get a lot of hate and all that too, but there's just not enough time to even explain to people like the good side of everything. And that's just where I find peace and calmness is I know what's right and what's good and within the heart and all that in all kinds of aspects. Anyone.
I
That's
love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of, Liz? I've had this impact on you. Guess what? You did have an impact on me as well, because I can remember after doing my intake with you, and you said, oh, Petey, I just love everything you're asking and all these things. And you said to me, I'm going to help you out because you've never been on any kind of a show, especially a reality
I
show.
remember talking to you about that. Yes.
Don't read anything.
Anything. Don't read anything. No. Yes.
Because you said people can be so mean.
They are so mean. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's another thing too that I just like move forward. Like, especially when you come into this whole new reality side of and putting yourself out there. Because I'm pretty sure I can't even tell you how many people are like, "Oh, that was fake and it wasn't real and you weren't under and you didn't go back."
Sure.
Like
everybody has
you
asked
don't even
that. Yeah.
know. And I'm just like, why are you so angry about it? Like, yes, yes. Oh, it literally though. Don't knock until you try, because it's been. Oh, I cannot wait to do this again eventually. Because I do want to go to other lifetimes. And you did take me back to, you took me back and then I brought myself back to that one lifetime. But I swear there's so many other lifetimes that I know that I can go back to.
Oh yeah.
And
because
that lifetime was so relevant. Yes.
But
and I
you
even
did find out, how many lifetimes. You asked the Council of Elders how many lifetimes you had, remember?
Was it 7? Or where am I getting 7?
You had
there was
with
more.
Ed for 7 lifetimes.
7, yes. Okay, so that was relevant.
But you
and Ed had 7 lifetimes together?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But you had 28 lifetimes with lots of long space between them, you said.
Yes, there is definitely a lot of long space between that. I even think back to like Ed's, like when I hear or watch and we talk about it, his lifetime that he went back to is so relevant to where he's at right now and everything that he's dealing with. Yeah, that is.
We'll have to get Ed on this podcast too, right? Yeah, I know. I know, it's interesting because I said, why did you have so much space between your incarnations? And you said, because each one was pretty jarring. Like you needed recovery time. So it was, and every time and that goes back to why you had those feelings in the womb, right? Oh, you knew what was in this soul
I don't want to
contract.
come out. I'm ready. Let me just be peaceful right here. And I like still, even to this day, have to like when I come home from work or being out, like I can literally hide in my room for hours and just recover. That's me
To recharge.
re-energizing. Yes.
Yeah. So it makes sense. Your soul needs that too. It's intense to learn these soul lessons in human form.
Oh yeah.
Right. So oftentimes, right, Mom, a lot of people pick multiple lessons to learn when you're in the soul form because we have no ego there. So it's like, sure, I'll learn about like gratitude and acceptance and self-love and throw in trust or forgiveness.
But you actually got to really put in the work in the human body.
And so that seems to be like when people show up in our therapy office, it's oftentimes where people have taken on way more before they came to this lifetime, because when they're dealing with forgiveness or trust or gratitude, you have to learn the opposite of it.
Yes.
Right. In order to learn what it's like to give yourself self-love.
Yes. I think a lot of people struggle with self-love.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
To learn. So you said, and that was part of your agreement also that you made with Ed before you both agreed to come into this lifetime in your soul contract. You had said you would show him unconditional love and you would help him.
And that's a lot of work.
Yes. And that he would help you learn to trust, and then there would be self-value and with insecurities. I mean, you could understand fully why all of this has been in this soul contract with Ed. It was like, and you were just nodding. I remember you just nodding as you were sitting there, as you were lying there hypnotized, but you were nodding a lot when you were with the Council of Elders, like, oh, I remember this now, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was a long list to sign. That's probably why I wasn't ready.
I know.
That was a huge moment signing for sure.
I know. And you kept saying, really, will I be able to move on? And they kept saying, you will find your voice. You can't grow without finding your voice, and you will find it. And they said, even though you may struggle some, you're going to find it soon. So don't be scared to find your truth and speak it. That is what you agreed to. And so now that you're looking for the lessons in all of these situations, that's exactly what you're doing. You're looking for it. You're looking so you can speak your truth. I mean, I just love this all for you, Liz.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I wish I can share so many things, but
for our listeners, the TV show that you guys are on hasn't finished, so there is some stuff that we're not letting go.
Yes.
So later on, we'll be able to do a tell-all.
But if I could even literally say everything that's going on right now and how much it has impacted me or has taught me and made me learn to deal with things and just
it just becomes like a thread in your life that you can always come back to, right? These lessons. And so it's so helpful to shift your perspective when you're coming at it from these soul lessons.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
So it'll be so interesting. I do know you're on another show next year. So maybe after that one, we will have you back on, and then we'll see
1 year.
All of it. We'll do a full tell-all. Yeah.
I gotta write notes right now.
I know. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Even talking to I didn't know Yar did it until I saw it with you. And then, but I remember even just talking to Molly, and I know she did it after. She didn't do it the way that Ed and I did it, but she had the opportunity to do it, and even
off camera,
sharing those things with her. She knew, she went through it all herself too, and her story was very interesting. And when she just finally broke through her chains and everything like that, I was like, yes, girl.
Talk about empowering.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, what would you like
people
to
really definitely have to do it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Finish.
It's a huge life-changing experience, and it is so you grow so much from it, and I can't even tell you how much I know Ed has grown from it too. So,
well, that is
really
exactly
got to try it.
Yeah, that's what I exactly was going to ask you. What would you like to share with people that are considering it, and what would you like to say? I think you just did, right?
Yeah, it's not as scary as you think it is, because I remember even talking to Jovi and Yara in the beginning. They're like, "Oh, I couldn't do this, or I couldn't like just give my power away." I don't want to quote that, but like again, like me, like trying to be vulnerable, like it is very safe. I have learned so much from it. It I really feel like everybody should do it. It's if I know that I've grown, and for people to know that I'm very quiet on the show, I am not anymore.
So good.
So there are changes, and I don't know, for me, I really did learn to speak up for myself, and
Huge.
just looking at every negative thing more in a positive way too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
So
that.
good.
So good.
Yeah.
And yes, Yara, you heard the interview. She just is like, everybody needs to have a regression. And for the disbeliever or not knowing what to believe, guess what? Jovi said, yeah, maybe I am going to want one.
Ed and I did it in therapy and couples retreat and all that. It's not, it wasn't even for us together. I learned a lot through this, and this therapy, like, even though we did it at couples retreat, I learned so much for myself, and I not even just for myself, just being there for everybody else and everybody else around me too. So it's not like you don't have to do it because you're in a relationship or something. Do it for yourself, and you'll be surprised at how much it impacts you every day with whoever you're surrounded by.
And I think it's really neat that you're able to get your own answers. It's not somebody telling you, but you are.
And Ed
you are
very
listening, sharing answers.
He's very relevant in that lifetime, but there's just so much that I learned for myself, even though he was in that lifetime, and I got to see him and his eyes. I remember seeing his eyes. I love his eyes. It was like one of the most charismatic trait. But I just learned so much just for myself in that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I thank you for being your courageous self to agree to do that. Number one, on camera with all the cameramen hanging out in the office we were doing it in.
I don't know if I to be vulnerable, but man, they had to sit there for hours. They couldn't move. You hear like one sound. I even remember hearing at a moment like a kid running across the hallway, and I was like, oh, I'm going to wake up, like subconsciously. And then finally, and then you were just like,
every sound just came to deeper and deeper relaxed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But that took courage. It did. It is courageous to share it with the world, because you had no idea what was going to come out or how you were going to feel. It's not like you had ever done it before.
Any of that was going to happen, to be honest. Honestly, I was even shocked that I was even able to go under.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And did it feel like hours?
It felt like 10 minutes, like 10 or 15 minutes, but I also know I was under.
How long was it, Mom?
Was it like 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours she was under.
Yeah. The time distortion. It's so interesting.
So what? I was just so calm too when I woke up, like calm for like a couple days.
Just like what you said when you saw Ed. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was really calm.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you just so much, and for coming on and being able to share and being, vulnerable again, but so open, because you will help so many people from just having them listen to your experience. It's so helpful to hear when you have these, do I want to do this? Should I do this? And you just, how the shifts that you have explained in your own life, they're just enormous, and you're so young. You're going to get these shifts for the rest of your life, Liz. It's so great.
Yeah. It really has really changed a lot for me.
I know. And next year we'll even go more into it.
Oh, I cannot wait till next year.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you for sharing everything.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.